Well, you have to know that Brian prayed for me backstage, and doesn't always work. So he's not a guarantee. But with that being said, by first blush, you would think that my personal miracle did not come true because I'm not standing before you, but rather sitting. In the next few minutes, I've been asked to share with you my story and my thoughts about miracles and why I do believe they come true. Maybe not the miracles that we want. When I was 13 years old, I fell off a cliff at Clifty Falls State Park in southern Indiana. It was a Mother's Day picnic, so not cool for your moms, not a very good present there. But nonetheless, I fell head first, and I ended up breaking both wrists in 3 places. I believe there's a picture of me in the hospital bed, smiling, looking happy as if nothing had happened. But more significantly, when I fell, I hurt my spinal cord and severed it, and I'm paralyzed from the mid-chest down, and I have no feeling. And so that was some 40 years ago. As I look back and I thought about miracles and whether or not did I pray for them, I really don't recall ever praying for a miracle for healing and I would walk again. I don't know why that is. Now, it was some 40 years ago, and I know there were some dark times, some frustrating times. I had to learn how to do everything all over again from a sitting position, dressing, bathing, transferring into cars. So it was difficult. But what I do remember is that I, even at an early age, had a really close relationship with God, and that I really leaned into Him. And for some strange reason, I thought that God had a plan for me, that it would unfold, and naturally it did unfold and continues to unfold to this day. But in addition to my deep Catholic faith was my very large and loving family. I had 6 siblings and 2 loving parents who provided an incredible amount of support and love, and honestly kicked me in the rear end sometimes when I needed that little push as well. Before my accident, I was a very active 13-year-old. I ran the streets of Carthage here in Cincinnati, and beyond the streets of Carthage when my parents didn't know sometimes. And I was very active in sports. I loved sports. I played basketball. I think we have a picture of me, my basketball team. I'm holding a trophy, and that's after we won the city championship. And then I played football, actually not too far from here when I grew up, number 29. Sadly, we lost the city championship game. But nonetheless, sports were very important. So that was the first challenge in my life, and certainly by many standards, some would think one that was potentially very difficult to overcome. But the second challenge that I want, or tragedy or setback that I faced, one much different than the first, involved the birth of our son, James Colby, pictured being held by my wife, Diana, of 30 years. James Colby was born with a heart anomaly. He underwent open heart surgery, and sadly to say, our miracle, our prayers went unanswered, and he lived just for 9 short days. Why I think and believe in miracles and why they come true, as I look back and I think about the James Colby's birth in the first place, truly was a miracle. And the 9 short days he was with us was truly a gift. But we saw healing. There were dark times, very difficult times. I don't want to lead you to think otherwise. But it was a time where we did grow together. And as I look back, and as we were always have heard growing up, that after every Good Friday does come in Easter Sunday, and that truly did happen with time. We eventually saw the miracle of 2 additional children in Adam and Grace that are doing extremely well and very loving. And then my extended family, which I will not name all the names of those in the picture, but some 20 nephews and nieces, 16 great nephews and nieces, and that's just my side of the family again. The big difference between the first and two, if you will, significant events in my life, the first, I was able to control, if you will, through my attitude, through the way I approached life. The second one, obviously, I didn't have control over it. But I nonetheless did and still understand that God did not want pain and suffering in this world for us. That was not the original intent, obviously. But with the fall of Adam and Eve and sin, pain and suffering is a reality. We, as human creatures, don't want the pain and suffering. We want the paralysis to go away. We want the child to heal. We want the cancer to go away. But that we know God does permit it. He does allow it to happen. Sometimes for the greater good, it's drawing us closer to Him. Sometimes we'll never understand because we don't understand it. God's outside of space and time. We'll never be able to get our minds around it. But the miracle in terms of myself and the healing that has come, even though I do like the good challenge, I certainly wouldn't mind being able to walk again. I certainly would like to be able to do the hikes in the woods and the walks on the beach. But at the same time, I've continued to embrace life. I rushed into a career that I think I've been able to do some good in this world. Outside of the work arena, I've been able to do things that I enjoy in terms of being within God's nature. I've done the Boundary Waters where you're backpacking and portaging. I've been to paragliding in the Alps. And most recently, I was able to complete the Camino Santiago pilgrimage, which is a 500-mile pilgrimage that begins in southern France and ends in Santiago, Spain. Now, in all honesty, we didn't walk the whole 500 miles. We drove about 410 miles and walked 90 miles, but nonetheless, we were able to complete it. And I think we had a picture of me in the mountains of northern Spain. So yes, I do believe in miracles. I've faced some tragedies, some setbacks in my life, but I've always leaned into God. I knew that He had a plan. I stayed close to God. And I guess my message for you today is that whether you've had adversity in your past or your present, and we probably will have more in our future, that you just stay close to God, develop that relationship. So thank you very much for letting me share my story.